How will the VPA benefit Vietnam? If VPA is effectively implemented, it will bring economic, social and environmental benefits to Vietnam. The VPA should strengthen the market position of verified legal timber products in the EU market and elsewhere. Fledged licensed timber will automatically be imported into the EU market and meet the requirements of the EU timber regulation, so will be exempt from any due diligence assessment process that saves time and money. It will increase the EU importers' confidence in Vietnam's timber products and make the products more attractive compared with equivalent products without fledged licenses. The VPA will increase government revenues by blocking access to export and domestic markets for illegal operators who do not pay the appropriate taxes and fees. The VPA will make it easier for Vietnam to manage forest resources in a sustainable way, notably through better monitoring and maintenance through the data system to sustain the yield. The VPA will help smallholders and small or medium enterprises to gain opportunities to access the international market. The VPA will highlight Vietnam's government's efforts to improve governance in one of its main economic sectors, the timber industry. What benefits have already arisen from the VPA process? The VPA negotiation process from 2010 to 2017 has had several positive developments. Consolidation of legislation and regulations. Vietnam has taken steps to consolidate the legislative and regulatory framework. Constructing a legal definition of timber has helped to bring together all the rules and regulations, including tax, fees, and environmental, in a holistic and comprehensive framework. As a result, it is easy to spot inappropriate regulations that should be amended or eliminated. This also facilitates law compliance organisations and individuals and helps law enforcement officers to fulfil their job. Clarification of forest land use rights. Land use rights are fully incorporated in the legality definition for both organisations and households in order to establish the legality of domestic timber supplies. In addition to a certificate of land use rights, the definition of legality outlines a series of other documents that can be used as evidence of land use rights. Management and protection of domestic natural forests. The government shows commitments to implement VPA requirements. For example, in 2014, the government introduced a ban on harvesting natural forest timber, with the exception of state forest companies, SFCs, that have Sustainable Forest Management, SFM certification. Vietnam is developing a comprehensive national framework for sustainable forest management and certification systems. Stakeholder consultations. Compared to the negotiation process of other trade agreements in Vietnam, VPA consultations with stakeholders are conducted more widely and more frequently. Various consultation mechanisms have been used, and there is an increased level of public disclosure of information. Non-governmental organisations, NGOs, engagement. There is an increased level of understanding and engagement of Vietnamese NGOs in fledged issues. As a result, the government is more positive about the capacity and contributions of VNGOs and their ability to engage in policy work. NGOs are involved in the assessment and review of forestry laws and participate in the establishment of forest owner groups and many other tasks. These are the signs that the VPA provides opportunities for NGOs and civil society organisations to engage in forest governance and other related issues in the VPA negotiation and implementation process. In May 2017, a meeting between the Vietnam Administration of Forestry, delegation of the European Union and stakeholders was held to discuss and agree to set up a multi-stakeholder implementation core group and a joint implementation framework to ensure that the VPA is implemented and participated by stakeholders. Is the VPA fair to small-scale operators in the sector? Yes. The VPA legality definition is divided into two sections, one for organisations and another for households. This structure reflects the different compliance requirements of various regulations that apply to these two target groups. The division between organisations and households enabled Vietnam to design a clear, specific and feasible Vietnam timber legality assurance system. How does the VPA protect community rights? The VPA legality definition recognises differences in verifiers of land use rights and forests instead of the required certificate of land use rights, the Red Book. Accordingly, the household does not have a certificate of land use rights, but still is a legitimate land user because there is other evidences to verify. VPA also states that the government of Vietnam aims to ensure that conducive conditions are created whereby domestic timber growers can produce and sell their products.